Let's begin with one of the simplest yet most profound principles ever spoken. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You've heard this before. Maybe in church, maybe in school, maybe from your parents when you were too young to appreciate its power. But today I want you to hear it differently, not just as a moral lesson, but as a law of success. Because the truth is, the golden rule isn't just about kindness. It's about effectiveness. It's about influence. It's about building a life and a legacy so strong that no force can tear it down. Why? Because everything you put into the world, every word, every action, every thought, comes back to you. Sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, but always, eventually. When you treat others with respect, you invite respect back. When you give others grace, you receive grace when you need it most. When you help others succeed, you find yourself surrounded by people eager to help you rise. That's not philosophy, that's physics. That's the law of cause and effect. Now listen carefully. Most people live their lives by the iron rule. Do unto others before they do unto you. Or the silver rule. Do unto others as they've done unto you. But those rules breed fear, suspicion, and smallness. The golden rule requires more of you. It asks you to rise above what's easy, above what's reactive, and choose to lead even when no one else does. It asks you to imagine what it feels like to be on the other side of you, to walk in their shoes, to feel what they feel, and act accordingly. You want to know why some people attract loyalty wherever they go? Why doors open for them? Why they never lack for allies, mentors, or opportunities? It's because they live the golden rule. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient, but as a daily discipline. And here's the real secret. The golden rule isn't just about what you do in public. It's about what you do when no one is watching. How you treat the waiter, the janitor, the competitor, the person who can do nothing for you. That's the true measure of your character. And character, my friend, is the foundation of lasting success. So, as we step into this lesson together, I want you to start asking yourself, how would I want to be treated if I were them? That single question can change the way you lead, the way you love, the way you live. And over time, it will change the way the world responds to you. Now let's dig deeper because the golden rule is more than just a polite suggestion. It's a powerful strategy for success. You see, most people believe success comes from being sharper, faster, tougher than everyone else. They think it means outsmarting others, winning at all costs, and taking more than you give. But here's what they don't realize. Every success built on selfishness is temporary. Every victory won at someone else's expense eventually turns hollow, because you can't escape the law of return. What you send out, you get back. If you cut corners and cheat people, you may win today, but you'll lose tomorrow. If you manipulate and intimidate to get ahead, you may climb fast, but you'll fall even faster. Why? Because no one wants to help a man who only helps himself, and no one stays loyal to someone who only serves his own interests. But when you live by the golden rule, you create something stronger than fear or force. You create trust. And trust, once earned, becomes your greatest asset. It makes people want to see you win. It makes them willing to open doors for you, speak your name in rooms you've never entered, and fight for you when you're not even there. That kind of loyalty can't be bought, it's built. And it's built by living the golden rule when it's hardest to do so. It's easy to treat others well when they treat you well. It's easy to respect people who respect you first. But the true test and the true opportunity is how you behave when they don't. When they misunderstand you, when they oppose you, when they take you for granted, because every interaction is a choice. You can mirror their behavior, or you can model the behavior you wish to see. And here's the beautiful part. When you choose to model it, you don't just change them, you change yourself. You begin to carry yourself differently. You gain confidence, knowing you've acted with integrity. You stop wasting energy on grudges and retaliation. You stay focused on building, not tearing down. And the world notices. Opportunities find you. The right people align with you. And success begins to flow to you, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. So ask yourself today, who around you needs your grace? Who needs your patience? Who needs you to treat them better than they've treated you? Because the seeds you plant today in the hearts of others will grow into the blessings you harvest tomorrow. And when you understand that, you stop competing with everyone, and you start cooperating with the very forces that make success inevitable. Now let's talk about something most people never connect to the golden rule: your reputation. Your reputation is your most valuable currency. It speaks for you in rooms you've never entered. It opens doors you never even knew were there. And it also determines how much trust and therefore opportunity the world is willing to give you. But here's the part many forget. You don't get to write your own reputation. You only get to live it. And others write it for you based on how you treat them. That's why the golden rule isn't just a nice idea, it's the smartest investment you'll ever make. Because every time you choose to treat someone the way you'd hope to be treated in their shoes, you're depositing into the bank of your reputation. You're building a kind of quiet wealth, one that grows compound interest over time. And here's the kicker. It's not just about the people you think matter. Anyone can smile at the boss while barking at the waiter. Anyone can charm a client while being cruel to their team. Anyone can impress on stage while being unbearable off stage. But character is revealed in the moments no one else notices. How you treat the stranger who can't help you. How you respond when you're tired or frustrated. How you speak about people when they're not in the room. Those moments write your story far louder than your accomplishments ever will. And the world has a way of reflecting that story back to you. When you live by the golden rule, people begin to trust that you won't throw them under the bus when times get tough. They trust you won't cut corners that cost them down the line. They trust that if they help you today, you'll remember tomorrow. And trust me, they will remember you. Now here's where this really starts to pay off. People don't just work harder for you when they trust you. They think harder for you. They protect your interests when you're not looking. They recommend you without you even asking. That kind of goodwill is worth more than any paycheck, any title, any trophy, because no matter how much you achieve, you'll never achieve it alone. And the way you treat others today determines who's willing to stand beside you tomorrow. So I ask you this: what kind of reputation are you building? Do people breathe easier when you walk into the room, or when you leave it? Do they feel bigger or smaller after talking to you? Do they trust you enough to help you climb? Or are they quietly hoping you fall? The answers to those questions don't come from luck or charm. They come from 1,000 little choices made over and over to live by the golden rule. And if you start today, you'll find that your reputation will one day carry you further than your resume ever could. Now let's look at one of the most powerful and most challenging applications of the golden rule: in moments of conflict. It's easy to live the golden rule when life is smooth, when people are kind, when everything goes your way. But life isn't always smooth, is it? People will test you. Circumstances will frustrate you. You'll encounter resistance, competition, and even outright hostility. And in those moments, your instincts may scream, defend yourself, strike back, give them what they gave you. But that's not the way of the wise. That's the reflex of the weak. The truly strong man or woman remains composed. Why? Because they know the golden rule is not just a moral compass, it's also a tactical advantage. When someone lashes out at you, and you meet them with calm instead of chaos, you disarm them. When someone tries to drag you into their bitterness, and you refuse to descend, you rise above. And when others burn bridges, and you choose to build them instead, you stand where others can no longer reach. Here's the secret. The way you treat people in conflict reveals more about you than about them. It shows the world what kind of leader you are. It shows whether your principles hold under pressure, or whether they crumble when tested. And the world respects and rewards the man who keeps his dignity when everyone else is losing theirs. Think about it. Who do you trust more? The hothead who reacts out of anger, or the leader who listens, who speaks with clarity, who never lets emotion dictate their choices? When you practice the golden rule in hard moments, you build a reputation for fairness. for steadiness, for wisdom, and that reputation becomes a shield. People start to say, "He's tough, but he's fair. She doesn't play favorites. You can count on him to do what's right, even when it's not easy." That kind of respect brings opportunities no resume can earn. Now, here's a practical question to carry with you. Whenever conflict arises, ask, if I were them, how would I want to be treated right now? Not how they deserve to be treated. Not how you feel like treating them, but how you would want someone to treat you if the roles were reversed. That single question will save you from saying things you can't unsay, from burning bridges you might need tomorrow, from winning arguments but losing relationships. Because in the end, success is not just about what you gain, it's about what you build. And nothing lasting is built without respect. So the next time you're tested, and you will be, choose the golden rule. It may feel like the harder path in the moment, but in the long run, it's the only path that leads to true power, true influence, and true peace of mind. Now let's talk about how the golden rule extends beyond individuals and into the very culture you create around you. Because make no mistake, whether you're building a family, a team, a business, or even a movement, the way you treat others sets the tone for everything that follows. When you lead with respect, others mirror respect. When you lead with fairness, others rise to fairness. When you lead with generosity, others feel safe to give their best. That's why the golden rule isn't just personal, it's contagious. People don't always do what you say, but they do what you model. So ask yourself, what kind of atmosphere do you create? Do people feel heard around you? Do they feel valued? Do they feel they can bring their best without fear of being torn down? If not, start here. Treat people the way you would want your own children to be treated, if they were in that same room. You see, every interaction is a seed. You don't just plant seeds of trust or resentment in that one person, you plant them in everyone who's watching. And believe me, people are always watching. They're watching how you handle the waiter who messed up your order. They're watching how you speak to the employee who made a mistake. They're watching how you talk about others when they're not around. And those little moments define the culture around you. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently live by the golden rule. People start coming to you with their best ideas. They go the extra mile without being asked. They protect your name when you're not there to defend yourself. And they stick with you when times get tough, not because they have to, but because they want to. And that loyalty is priceless. It cannot be bought with money or demanded with power. It's earned one respectful choice at a time. Now let me also say this. The golden rule doesn't mean tolerating poor performance or bad behavior. It doesn't mean you allow mediocrity to go unchecked. It simply means you correct with dignity, you discipline with fairness, and you never forget that the person on the other side of you is human, just like you. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same things: to feel seen, to feel valued, to feel like we matter. And when you make people feel that way, even in the smallest interactions, you create a ripple effect that can change lives. So as you continue to grow, remember, every word you speak, every tone you use, every choice you make becomes part of the story others tell about you. And if you let the golden rule guide you, that story will be one of respect, integrity, and lasting success. Now let's talk about something subtle but profoundly important: how the golden rule shapes your inner world just as much as your outer one. When you live by this principle, you're not just improving relationships or building a reputation, you're also training your own mind, heart, and spirit to operate at a higher level. Because every time you choose to treat someone with respect, especially when they don't seem to deserve it, you strengthen your self-control. Every time you pause to consider someone else's perspective, you expand your empathy and deepen your understanding of the world. And every time you act with integrity, you quiet that little voice inside that wonders if you're really the person you claim to be. That's why people who practice the golden rule consistently tend to carry themselves differently. They move with more confidence, not because they believe they're better than others, but because they know they're living in alignment with something higher. And alignment is powerful. It frees you from the burden of regret. It keeps you steady under pressure. It allows you to sleep well at night, knowing you've conducted yourself honorably. Now let's talk about something even deeper. When you treat others as you wish to be treated, you train your mind to expect the same in return. That doesn't mean you'll never face mistreatment, you will. But it does mean you begin to attract people and circumstances that reflect the energy you put into the world. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how kind, respectful people seem to find themselves surrounded by support? And how harsh, bitter people often find themselves isolated even when they appear successful? That's no accident. It's the law of return in action. When you live by the golden rule, you begin to see the world not as a battlefield, but as a garden. You stop asking, "What can I take?" and start asking, "What can I plant?" And when you plant good seed through your words, your actions, your attitude, you create a harvest that no one can take from you. Here's something else to consider. When you treat others well, even those who mistreat you, you protect yourself from becoming like them. Because resentment is a poison you drink, hoping it will hurt someone else. But kindness? Kindness is your shield. It keeps your heart soft, even in a hard world. It keeps your vision clear, even when others lose theirs. It keeps you moving forward while others stay stuck in bitterness. So understand this. The golden rule isn't just about who they are, it's about who you are becoming. And the more you practice it, the more you discover that success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about the kind of person you've trained yourself to be along the way. That is the quiet strength of the golden rule, and it belongs to anyone willing to live it. Now let's talk about how the golden rule applies when you're in a position of power, because that's when it really gets tested. When you're the one with the authority, when you're the one signing the checks, when you're the one people depend on, it can be tempting to forget that everyone you deal with is just as human as you are. But here's the truth. How you treat people when you don't have to says more about you than anything else. Anyone can be kind when they're trying to win favor. Anyone can be respectful when they're on the way up. But the mark of real greatness is treating everyone, even the smallest, quietest voice in the room, with dignity, no matter where you stand. You see, the higher you climb, the more visible you become. People are watching. They're watching how you handle stress. They're watching how you respond when mistakes happen. They're watching how you speak to those who can't offer you anything in return. And when you lead with the golden rule, you send a message that this is a place where people matter. That respect isn't negotiable, it's the standard. That character counts more than convenience. Here's another reason this matters. The people you treat well today may hold the key to your future tomorrow. The intern you mentored could become the decision maker you need 10 years from now. The employee you inspired could grow into your strongest ally in another company. The competitor you treated fairly could one day be the one who saves your business from collapse. Life has a way of circling back, and when it does, you'll be glad you sowed seeds of respect rather than contempt. Now, let me also tell you this. The golden rule creates loyalty that no contract can enforce. When people feel they are truly seen, heard, and valued, they don't just work for you, they work with you. They give more than their job description requires. They stand by you when the storms come. They protect your name when you're not around to defend it. And that kind of loyalty is priceless. But it can only be earned, never demanded. So if you're in charge of a team, a family, a company, even just yourself, remember this. Your power is not proven by how many people you can command, but by how many people choose to follow you because they trust and respect you. And that trust and respect are built brick by brick with every choice you make to live by the golden rule, especially when you have every excuse not to. So lead boldly, but lead kindly. Stand tall, but don't stand on others. And as you do, you'll find that true power doesn't come from taking from, it comes from giving more than was expected and treating others the way you would hope to be treated yourself. Now let's turn our attention to how the golden rule influences your ability to build partnerships, not just in business, but in every area of life. Because success, as you've heard me say before, is never achieved alone. You will always depend on the goodwill, cooperation, and talents of others. And the way you treat people determines whether they choose to bring their best to you or save it for someone else. Partnership is not about contracts on paper, it's about agreements of the heart. It's about trust. And trust is born when people believe you won't take advantage of them, that you see them not just as a tool to get what you want, but as a human being with goals, fears, and dignity of their own. That is the power of the golden rule. When you practice it consistently, you make people feel safe to bring their ideas, their energy, their creativity, even their vulnerabilities, because they know you won't use those things against them. And when people feel safe, they don't just cooperate, they commit. They go further than required. They protect the relationship even when it costs them something. They stick around when others would walk away. That kind of partnership is rare, but it is worth everything. Now, here's something else most people don't realize. The golden rule isn't just about how you treat people when they're useful to you. It's also about how you treat people when they can't do anything for you. The way you treat someone who seems powerless reveals whether you truly understand power at all. Because life has a funny way of elevating the very people you once overlooked, and if you've treated them poorly, you may find them standing between you and your next opportunity. So develop the habit of seeing value in everyone you meet. Not just the influential, but the invisible. Not just the ones who praise you, but also those who challenge you. Not just the easy relationships, but also the difficult ones. Here's a question to carry with you. Would I feel proud if the way I treated this person was broadcast for everyone to see? Because in many ways it is. Your reputation travels faster than you do. Your actions write a story people tell about you long after you've left the room. When you live by the golden rule, that story becomes a foundation you can build on for a lifetime. People will say, "He's fair. She can be trusted. They made me feel like I mattered." And that, my friend, is the kind of wealth that no bank account can hold and no failure can erase. So treat your partnerships, all of them, like precious investments, because that's exactly what they are. And the golden rule is the most reliable way to make sure those investments grow. Now let's talk about the long game, because the golden rule is not just about today. It's about who you become over time and the life you create in the process. You see, the man who lives by the golden rule builds invisible bridges wherever he goes. He creates networks of trust, respect, and goodwill that stretch far beyond what he can see. And here's what's fascinating. Those bridges often carry him to opportunities he never imagined, at moments he least expects, from people he thought had long forgotten him. Because life is not linear, it's a circle. What you send out into the world has a way of finding its way back to you, sometimes multiplied. That's why the most powerful results of the golden rule can't always be measured today or even this year, but they always show up. The people you help now may open doors for you decades later. The kindness you show now may return when you need it most. And the reputation you build now may become the very thing that sustains you when everything else seems to crumble. Here's another truth you need to hear. The golden rule is not just for seasons of success, it's especially for seasons of struggle. When life knocks you down, when you lose what you've built, when you feel like everything you worked for has slipped through your fingers, the way you treated others along the way becomes your safety net. Because people remember, and if you've sown seeds of respect and kindness, you'll find hands reaching out to lift you back up. But if you've sown arrogance, cruelty, and selfishness, you'll find yourself standing alone. That's why I tell you, live today like you'll meet everyone again tomorrow. Because chances are you will. Every clerk, every colleague, every competitor, they all carry a memory of you. And you don't get to choose when that memory comes back to meet you. So choose wisely now. Here's something else to think about. The golden rule doesn't just shape your external world, it shapes your internal peace. When you know you've done right by others, you sleep better. You move through life without fear of shadows catching up to you. You carry a quiet confidence that no one can fake, because it comes from knowing you've earned the respect you enjoy. And that peace, that's priceless. So as you look at the path ahead, ask yourself, what kind of bridges am I building? Will the people I meet today become allies or adversaries tomorrow? And when my name is spoken in rooms I've never entered, will it open doors or close them? The answers to those questions depend entirely on how faithfully you live the golden rule, even when no one seems to notice, because they always notice eventually. And now we arrive at the heart of it all, the final truth about the golden rule. It's not just a tactic. It's not just a habit. It's not even just a law of success. The golden rule is a way of being. It's a declaration that says, I will not let the world harden me. I will not treat others as lesser just because I have more power or more wealth or more knowledge. I will not repay hurt with hurt or disrespect with disrespect. Instead, you decide consciously, daily, to rise above what is easy and do what is right. And here's what's remarkable. You don't just elevate others when you live this way. You elevate yourself. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You experience joy you didn't know you were missing. You attract opportunities you didn't even know existed. Because the golden rule has a way of clearing the path in front of you. It softens hearts that were hard against you. It turns strangers into supporters, competitors into collaborators, and obstacles into stepping stones. Now let me be clear. There will be moments when it feels like the golden rule doesn't work. Moments when you treat someone well and they repay you with cruelty. When you give and they only take. When you act with integrity and the world seems to reward the opposite. But those moments are the test. The man who abandons his principles at the first sign of resistance was never living by principle, he was just making a trade. But you understand that living by the golden rule is not about keeping score, it's about keeping your soul. Because in the end, success isn't just about what you build, but who you become. And when you can look back at your life and know you treated others the way you would have wanted to be treated, you'll stand taller. You'll sleep deeper. You'll leave behind a legacy worth more than money could ever buy. So let me leave you with this final challenge. When you wake up tomorrow and every day after, decide that no matter what happens, you will choose to honor others as you would hope to be honored. When it's easy, do it. When it's hard, especially do it. Because the golden rule isn't just a path to success. It is the success. And the more faithfully you walk it, the more fully you'll realize that everything you've been chasing, respect, influence, peace, fulfillment, was waiting for you here all along. Right here, in the choice to treat others, just as you would want them to treat you.